So as Dr. Curry said, my name is Ashley Brubaker, and I will be student teaching in Athens in the spring. That's way up north in Bradford County. But before we start, all those online, if you'd like to scan the QR code, that has all the materials that I've been working on throughout the semester. But with that, I'll get started. So as Dr. Curry said, I'm going to be answering 3 questions. Who do I aspire to be as a teacher? What experiential learning experiences or opportunities have I engaged in to become a better agricultural educator? And how am I prepared to maximize my student teaching internship opportunity? But before we get into that, a little bit about me. I started at a very young age following in my dad's footsteps. As you can see, me tracking him down as he was tilling up the garden. He is my inspiration for a lot of things, so I wanted to include that. I grew up raising dairy beef, and you can see in that picture, there's a lot of ups and downs with that, as my mom can vouch for. My brother wasn't too happy, and there's my fake smile. I have Robin Bechtel in the top right corner, who was my ag teacher in high school, and she has definitely encouraged me over the last 4 years to continue in this industry and specifically being an ag teacher. My pap in the bottom left, he always encouraged me to, well, one, enjoy John Deere tractors and continue in farming. My pap, he was there for everything. And of course, Penn State, I've been here for 3 years and it's been a fun ride. So the first question I'll be answering for you guys is, who do I aspire to be as a teacher? My philosophy statement, there's 4 main parts. Universal design for learning. I want to make sure that students all have a seat at my table and that I am catering to students' abilities to the best of my ability. In the classroom, SAE and FFA, that is part of a 3-circle model that I'll be talking about in the couple more slides. But I just wanted to touch on that. I want everybody to be welcome in my classroom. I want students to have a supervised agricultural experience where students can get what they enjoy and do it out of school and in the classroom. And last but not least, we love FFA, and I want people to be a part of that. So just encouraging students to be a part of the organization, to develop leadership skills, so on and so forth. But teaching is more than just being a teacher. Teaching is being a role model, a coach, a cheerleader, and I just want to make sure that the next generation of agriculturalists understand that. Oops. So a little bit of what my dream program would look like, my scope and sequence. I want students to get an introduction before they get into the 9th grade classroom. So that would be 8th grade industrial arts, where students could maybe a semester or maybe a trimester get into the shop class and do all the fun things and really get an introduction to agriculture before Introduction to Agriculture in 9th grade, which is a prerequisite for all other courses. In 10th grade, they can take agriculture mechanics, which is a shop class where students can do hands-on activities like building Adirondack chairs, doing some welding, doing some wiring, doing some plumbing. Animal science, where they could learn more about animal science and plant science. From there, in grades 11th and 12th, they can choose whatever class they want. I'm not going to force students into a pathway that they wouldn't enjoy. I just want them to get as much experience as possible before they get into their career or before they get into a college career. So, of course, a good classroom management plan is important for a young teacher starting out, but as I go on into my career. So I have some high expectations, some classroom consequence policies. Of course, students aren't going to act peachy keen 24/7. So I just want to have that in place so students understand what the plan is if they do something that is against school policy or my policy. And classroom procedures. So I'm just going to quickly go through those. My expectations are students are to come prepared to class every morning with required materials, that being Chromebooks, notebooks, paper, pencil. The last thing I want to do is give pencils out to 20 kids every single day. I want them to respect all classmates and myself as a teacher, because if respect isn't in the classroom, then they're not going to be welcomed. And I want to make sure that it's a welcoming environment for everyone. Classroom participation. Athens is the Wildcats. So I put it into CATS as abbreviation. It's come with a willingness to learn, actively participate in activities and lab work. Take your time and use it wisely. Of course, students might not always feel the need to take their time or use their time wisely. So just having that as a reminder up there. Stay on task and follow instructions. Of course, if people aren't staying on task, then it can get into mass chaos quite quickly. And follow all rules and policies in the handbook. The handbook is there for a reason. Obviously, I want that to be a part of my classroom along with rules that I have set in place. Consequences, one, verbal warning. Of course, if that doesn't work, we're going to go into a one-on-one meeting where I meet with the student to ensure that they are trying to meet expectations. And if that doesn't work, we're going to contact parents or guardians. And that could be an email, a call, a one-on-one meeting if necessary. And after that, if that's not working, a referral to the administration office or removal of student from the classroom. And classroom procedures kind of goes into expectations, but a little bit different. So I want students to enter the room, find their seat quickly and quietly, take out required material. Like I said, they have Chromebooks. I want them to have those every day because they could have stuff on Canvas or Schoology. And respect the teacher and students. Again, that is extremely important to make sure we have a welcoming environment. Listening to other teachers or students whenever we're talking. So I don't want to be talking over students 24/7. And even though they might like to talk over me, at some point that's going to be a little out of control. So one of the projects that I brought in to share with you guys is a wooden luminary. This is just 2x6 boards, and this is a part of my $15 project, which including the candle, it's probably less than $15. So students can take this home. I used a scroll saw to do this tree here, but obviously students can do whatever outline they see fit. So like if they're into fishing, they can do a fish. But it's kind of like a candle warmer or a holder. I have a fake candle in here, but you can also use a real candle. And I did a Christmas theme. Merry Christmas, Mom. And a part of our assignment, we did a comprehensive lab integration plan. So what would my dream facility look like? And Mr. John Seaman, I'm very sorry about my SketchUp abilities, but it's there. We have a little shop class here. I have a couple benches that students can work on. They can store their work underneath the benches as well. I have a table saw. There's a little closet there where students can get into any toolboxes or anything. And we can also store wood back there or metal if we're doing some welding. We can store that back there. There's a little hallway where students can hang up their PPE, their jackets. If they want to bring their backpacks to the shop, they can hang their backpacks there. Some other benches to store stuff on as well. And I put a table saw in there. Of course, not everything is going to be clean in the shop, so I included a sink as well. So how do I plan on integrating SAE and FFA into my classroom? Like I said before, I talked a little bit about the three-circle model, but the three-circle model of school-based agriculture education includes FFA, SAE, and classroom instruction. So all those three components combined to make sure that students have the best experience possible in an ag program. But one thing that Athens includes, and I plan to include in the future, is SAE Fridays. I know for a fact that I did not record my AET book every single Friday. And whenever that degree came around, I entered everything once a year, and that didn't work out for me. So I want to make sure that students don't have the same problems. I see some people smiling, so maybe they had the same experience. One thing that I want to encourage is SAEs don't have to be livestock based. I feel like a lot of people do livestock because that's what you do, but I want to see some unique backgrounds and perspectives in the SAE world. So just encouraging people to get out there, do fun things. My brother actually he raised 200, 300 game birds at a time, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I want to encourage students to share what they're doing and maybe encourage them to do the same. Another thing is both SAE and FFA. I hope that everybody has a seat at my table. Everybody feels comfortable with their backgrounds to participate in FFA activities. One of the worst things that I hear is FFA is only for farmers, and that's just a knife to the heart. I don't appreciate that. So just encouraging students that FFA isn't just for farmers, it's for anybody that wants leadership opportunities, anybody who wants to have a hand in agriculture, because it's wide and it's reaching. So just ensuring that. Program marketing, obviously, well, for you guys who don't know, ag programs are electives. They are not core curriculum. So students have the choice to come to my classroom. So marketing is very important to make sure that students understand maybe that FFA isn't just for farmers or so on and so forth. So I created a video as part of my classes for both 412 or 413 and 295. And this video specifically highlights opportunities within the three-circle model and also access to technology within agriculture facilities. So students might not understand that they can come to my classroom and access the facilities that I have to do the SAE things, to do the FFA things, that my classroom isn't just to walk in for 40 minutes and to walk out. Some community integration, obviously, community integration is extremely important to further my program and further the experiences for my class or my students. So having an alumni and supporters group to support me in those ventures, either with money, time invested, and then give back to the community through community action committees. So community-based units are units where myself or my students identify a need in the community and go do that. So for my school-based activity that I had planned for Athens, I paired up with, I imaginarily paired up with a Bradley's Country Creamery to make a area for a community garden. So even just something as small as that is important to make sure that we're giving back to the community. OACs and LACs, so occupational and local advisory committees, are extremely important. If you're going to have an approved program, Chapter 339, you need both of those. So just encouraging industry professionals and local professionals to get into my classroom and understand where our weak points are, where our strong points are, and go from there. And community professionals, I'll be the first one to admit that I am not a professional in everything. So encouraging people in our community, or my community specifically, to join in and share what their passion is. Obviously, I'm not a vet, so I'm going to call up my sister, who is a vet tech, to come into my classroom and share what she knows. The next question I'd like to answer is, what experiential education opportunities have I engaged in to become a better agriculture educator? So there's a fun picture of me and Mary and Grace in 350, which is an ag mechanics class. That has taught me so much about, well, a hitch pin there might not pull a wagon, but I can eventually teach students how to weld. And all the components of that classroom was really inspiring to continue my ag mechanics journey. Second is ANSI 201, which is an animal science course taught by Dale Olver. And I might not have always been happy when I was sitting or studying for that class, but it taught me so much and challenged me to, well, compared to any other class, challenged me the most. And I think that I'm going to integrate a lot of what I have learned into my classroom in the future. And last but not least, AE 204N, which is a science literacy course. you really don't realize that people in the world, in the United States, in Pennsylvania, don't know a lot about science. So encouraging science literacy and debunking some myths so that people and students learn where their food comes from and why, and so on and so forth. There's too many components to share right now. Some of the certifications that I have done, I am CPR and first aid certified, National Safe Tractor and Machine Operating certified. That is extremely important to me because so many people in my community have passed away due to tragic accidents, and just making sure that students understand that machinery is big and you can't take things lightly. Beef quality assurance, some of the stuff that I will be teaching is a part of the beef quality assurance standards. So that really encourage not just for beef, but for any product. We need to treat all animals fairly to make sure we get the best product possible. And last but not least, sudden cardiac arrest and concussion certified. So if anyone has a heart problem, I have your back. Some of the professional development that I've been able to do. This summer, I went to the Pennsylvania Association of Agriculture Educator conference. So that is along with the NAAE, the national version, which I went to last week. I learned a lot. I connected with people all over Pennsylvania, all over the world, really, and just talked about what our common goals are in in agriculture education and beyond. PSU Ag Ed Bootcamp, I connected with my cohort members and my professors to ensure that we were all on the same page as we went from here and forward. And the Inquiry Institute, I learned a lot about how students do not wonder anymore. So encouraging students to ask questions and get the answers to those on their own or with some additional feedback from a teacher. Some events that have prepared me for teaching. This picture right here is the Lady Pirates softball team, and you think they look angry now, wait till you make them run around the bases 50 times. They might have had that face on more than they had smiles, I don't know. And I also had the opportunity to substitute teach at the Williamsburg Community High School, where I taught grades K through 12 in all subjects. So that was a really fun experience and step in the door for when I get into student teaching. Some of the previous experiences that I have had for meeting diverse needs. So if you don't know, that could be special education, that could be students on higher, lower levels, whatever. But some previous experiences that I have had the opportunity to do is Gears and LifeLink. We paired up with them for a lesson, and I taught a lesson, but we did a whole unit on plant systems. So we were able to teach students with disabilities parts of a plant. I taught them that. And I think they really enjoyed that. I had the opportunity to take Spanish 101, which was a college course. And although I can't speak fluent, I can translate a good many words. So that also helped me with English as a second language learners at the Williamsburg Community School District, where I worked with students who did not have English as a first language. So coming from a non-diverse background, that seems pretty shocking that students in America don't have the first language of English. And I think it's important to meet those needs. So the future experiences that I would like to do is diverse learner training. That is extremely important to make sure that I'm meeting the needs of all students, no matter their backgrounds. And the last question, how am I prepared to maximize my student teaching internship opportunity? I am going, like I said, to Athens Area High School, way up north in Bradford County, two-teacher program. There's Mrs. Sarah Beth Aldifer and Mr. David Steinfeld. That's us at National Convention. I think we had a grand old time. They have a middle school program, which is a niche in Pennsylvania still, but they have that opportunity, and they have over 200 members. Some of the facilities that I will be able to experience and my students will be able to experience at Athens is the greenhouse. They have two greenhouses. They also have a ag mechanics shop, as you can see in the bottom right corner, and various classroom pets that I may or may not be allergic to. So the Athens program, their strengths, they have very high expectations of their students, and the students meet those expectations. And I think that is extremely important. Recruitment marketing, once again, they have a middle school. So students are introduced to the FFA program at a young age. And I think that really helps their numbers in the high school. But also they work a lot with the community to engage, to make sure that people know about their program. Some areas for growth. I spent this semester trying to ask for a budget, and they didn't have one, which I understand because it's hard to make a budget when you don't know if you have money or not. Obviously, our state and government can't do that either. Some facility upgrades are extremely important. Mr. David Steinfeld, he said that they need a new greenhouse cover, and I think that that, along with some of their ag mechanics tools, can be upgraded. So some facility upgrades for your area of growth. This will be what I'll be teaching in the spring. This is the bell schedule. There's a regular and a win day. A win day is a shortened version of a regular day. So students have an extra period to work on things that they otherwise would not have been able to. So I'll start off by observing SAE and FFA. Second period, ag mechanics. Third period, intro to ag. Fourth period, animal science. Lunch, of course, if I can get it down in time. Intro to ag is 5A, which is another 9th grade class. Ag mechanics, again, 7th period. Animal science, 8th period. And last but not least, I have a prep. So at the end of the day, I get to rewind a little bit and prepare for the next day. Some of the lessons and units that I'll be teaching, I have 12 units on my plate and 180 lesson plans total. Those are some of my, that's my schedule. The orange is what I'll be observing. So that will be units that will be taught by my cooperating teachers, and the other colors are my units. So I'll be teaching wiring, plumbing, livestock management. I'll be teaching for intro and animal science, but it's differentiated so that students have different opportunities and can engage at different levels. And cells to systems, greenhouse management, and pesticides. So that'll be a lot of fun when I get into that. So some of my contributions to my cohort, there's no one here to vouch for me, but I believe that I bring a smile to the classroom. I'm a team cheerleader, and I just want to make sure that all my cohort members are really engaged and at least have a smile on their face. I paid a lot of money for this smile, or my mom paid a lot of money for this smile, so I'm going to use it however I see fit. Some areas for improvement. The last 4 or 5 weeks have been a little stressful because obviously I didn't time manage well enough. So I believe that is an improvement for me that I need to make. And plant science, I'm not extremely strong in that subject. So I want to be able to get professional development, and any way that I can get better at plant science, I plan on doing so. Some professional growth goals that I have. Classroom management, obviously, other than substitute teaching, I have not had a lot of experience in classroom management. So these posters right here are extremely important to make sure that my agenda gets through and students understand my expectations for them and their expectations for me. Time management, once again, I hope to grow in that because I've never really had to experience time in a crunch. So just doing that. Agriculture mechanics. I was actually telling my brother a couple days ago that I want to be an ag mechanics powerhouse in the next 10 years. So just really getting comfortable in that space. I know I need to work on my welding, that's for sure. And professional learning network. I have had the opportunity over the last year to meet with a lot of different educators from a lot of different backgrounds, but I want to continue that to make sure that students are getting the most up-to-date material possible, and I get at least a little break. Someone's sharing the same strife as me. So I want to thank you guys all for being here today. I also want to thank my family. They aren't able to be here today, other than my mom, and well, over here. My immediate family, I should say. My brother's taking a final right now, and my dad is working hard on a dairy farm, so he wasn't able to come. But I also want to thank all my professors here at Penn State. They really encouraged me along this journey, and I'm so thankful that I chose Penn State to continue my education. So thank you. Are there any questions at this time?
How many students do you have in a classroom up there when you're student teaching?
So it's very varying. So I'm gonna put this down. It's a pretty big school, but my largest class is 25, an intro to ag class, which is a bunch of ninth graders. I had the opportunity to go up there and do my life knowledge lesson, and they're a rowdy bunch. And then my smallest class is a class of 4 that I will be teaching for horticulture.
Is there anything they recommend? My background is in a prison, so when we started at the prison, when you do a classroom in there, they tell you to start hard on the students and strict, and then back off. I don't know if that's something they still recommend for a normal classroom, because if you go in hard, strict, talking and non-talking, and then lighten up after that, because if you go the opposite direction, it's hard to get the classroom back. I don't know if that's something they teach now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing the same thing. Obviously, I'm not going to start light and then get harder because students already have that expectation of me to be a light teacher. So just ensuring that students understand my expectations and the students have the same expectations for me. Like I said, Athens has high expectations for their students, and I want to continue that because challenging students is extremely important to make sure they're growing.
Went over the toughest kids first.
Yeah.
I put in the chat for the Zoom folks on Zoom, if you could put your questions in the chat, we will ask them to Ashley. I have a question. You mentioned the OACs and LACs are advisory committees. I would like to just maybe expand on that a little bit more by zooming out to the programmatic view of the programmatic level of an ag program and ag teacher. Not just on a 4 o'clock on a Thursday for a livestock judging team to help. What's the role of the community and the agricultural partners broadly for your program? Yeah, so once again, my program would not be there without community support. So I want to make sure that I'm reaching into industries, and those students are going to be eventually getting into those industries or into a college career to get back to those industries. So just ensuring that those professionals are in there so they have the most up-to-date material. So an OAC, an occupational advisory committee, ensures that your program is having the most up-to-date facilities based on industry standards. So those professionals are there to say, yes, you need to do this to continue to make sure that your students are getting the best that they can, or no, that is not what they need to be learning. So just incorporating that, just bringing in industry professionals to say yay or nay on any decisions is extremely important. Question?
So we hope and we encourage ag teachers to be lifelong learners. And you mentioned that in 10 years, you want to be an ag mech powerhouse. That is awesome. What steps do you have? Do you have a plan of how you hope to get there?
Yeah, so the first step obviously was those PAA and NAA workshops. I want to work with professionals who have been in the ag education space for years and know what works and know what doesn't work. So working with those people, and also Mr. Dave Steinfeld, he knows a whole lot about stuff in the shop. So I plan on working in the next 14 weeks to work with him. I won't be teaching welding, but I hope that he'll put me on the welder. Actually, when I went up there for my life knowledge lesson, the students was like, one student, he said, okay, get your helmet, get some gloves, we're welding. I want to see what you can do. I'm like, okay. So I went in there and did that. So I think that the students will challenge me. And I think that is extremely important for lifelong learning, is just challenging and continuing to challenge.
Ashley, what is one goal you have for specifically during your student teaching in your professional, in the growth and development of your professional identity?
So I already met a lot with Sarah Beth and Dave, and they have a lot of knowledge to share. So just asking questions when I'm unsure of something, just asking them. And those debriefs after school are extremely important to get feedback and continue to get feedback and grow from those experiences.
We have a question in the chat from Maya. For those of you who are familiar, Maya is our graduate student in ed. She says, you mentioned that the time with your students in the life knowledge lessons show that they are rowdy and potentially challenging. How do you empower your students in the classroom through their strengths?
So I do not know every single student. That was a really big class, but in 14 weeks, I'm sure that I will get to know them very well. So encouraging both the student and myself to look beyond their difficulties and really challenge them and myself to work together to make sure that students are getting all the experiences possible. Because throughout this experience, it's an experience for me and it's also experience for them. So we need to work together to make sure that we get through whatever we need to.
And I'm trying to figure out why you didn't list your Penn State parking as one of the things to prepare you for difficult people.
Yeah. If you didn't know, I did some parking for Penn State, and if you think people are angry just parking their cars for school, you should try getting a line of 50 cars into a parking lot where each person wants their own parking space in very specific ways. So I think that has definitely prepared me as well.
Any questions for us?
You didn't mention you're helping your dad, your uncle harvest corn and soybeans with a good truck ride.
I am a good truck driver, I guess. I don't know. I blew the air tank off of one of the trucks one time, so I don't know how good of a driver I was.
Learning experience.
You all join me in congratulating Ashley on more. In our next presentation at 10 o'clock, we ask that you would retire and take part in our freshmen in 214 until that next presentation happens. Thank you so much for starting us off, Ms. Claudia.
Thank you.
Thank you.